Welcome, everyone. We're so excited about today's webinar. It will be fun and full of great tips and information. Prepare yourself. It will be an amazing journey. And again, we don't want only to listen and attend. We want to take whatever Brendan will share with you and practice it and take it serious, consider it. And Brendan, he's very professional here and he has like years of experience, especially for those fresh graduates and even professionals. So the tips that he's going to share with you will be very valuable. Consider it, review with it, and update yourself, and then go and seek for a new opportunity. Welcome, Brendan, for this amazing session. Brendan, let's cope again. And I'm sure that all of them, or so many of them, that they know you, but give us a little bit brief about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm the managing director here at Marc Ellis. I've got over 15 plus years of experience when it comes to the professional services industry, mainly within the IT, digital, cybersecurity, and AI. I think what's interesting about this topic, and I want everyone to understand, is that I've also been in that person's shoes, in your shoes, in fact. I've been a fresh graduate trying to get a job. Yes, timing wise is a bit different. What it was like 15 plus years ago is not the same as it is today. Technology has advanced. Technology has also enabled people to get more opportunities. But I want to give you guys the real life examples of what I've gone through as a person, and as well as also sharing my experience when it comes to the recruitment side of things, you know. So how does the recruitment agencies, what's their mindset of how to look at people? How does end customers look at people when they're looking at hiring initiatives? So I'm really excited to be here. I think last session was amazing. I think we ran over time, probably about 20, 25 minutes more. I tried to answer as many questions as possible. I want today's session to be more tailored towards a Q&A, covering the main topics, than just kind of going through that experience and talking about that. But we're going to be covering a lot of good topics to cover the wide scale of fresh graduates to professionals, how to kind of adapt the CV and LinkedIn tips, what's the hiring trends when it comes to the GCC, what's really booming right now. So hopefully, guys, this webinar gives you the tips and tricks so that you can use. It's great to hear, Loay, that you mentioned that a lot of people took those tips and started implementing it into their application and started to see some success stories. So that, for me, is an amazing sign that this session is really powerful. And I guess that's why we're doing part 2. So yeah, excited to be here, excited for all of you guys, and I hope I can give you as much information as possible for you to get the success that you deserve.
Great, amazing. So as Brendan mentioned, so this session we would like to tailor it more to in your Q&A. So maybe more than half of the session will be answering your questions. So prepare your questions. Let's go to part 1, Brendan. So we have lots of fresh graduates out there. They studied hard in their university and they're having hopes. So give us some tips. How can those fresh graduates really stand out there in the market? Especially, you know, there are huge competitions out there. What do they need to focus on once it comes to their CV, their selves, their career, their goals and expectation? Can you share with us that?
Yeah, so look, I'll maybe cover 2 or 3 topics on this part. I think point number 1 is you have to build credibility with no experience. It's very difficult, right? As fresh graduates, and everyone has the same level, so to say. Everyone's graduated, everyone's got that degree, everyone's got that. So how do you stand out from the crowd, right? Now, building that credibility with no experience, you have to push free or certifications that you have to take in place. So I take my story right now. I did an internship in Los Angeles and I paid for my internship, right? But me going out above and beyond and getting that internship, going and getting that international experience, pictured me different to someone who has not done that. So I'm going above and beyond and pushing myself because I want to stand out from the crowd, right? So when you're hiring, when you're applying, sorry, for a requirement, you need to, your personal projects has to link to that job, if that makes sense. Okay, so my background was, I did my internship in financial advising, completely different to what I have got. And it comes to my second point, I linked that transferable skills resume into the positions that I'm hiring, that I'm applying for. So you need to translate those group projects. You need to look at kind of cross-functional collaborations of your experience to match that work or that job that you're applying for. So I know a lot of people, and I think this is very good to push part-time jobs. Okay, while you are studying, get that experience. Go and work in a coffee shop. Go and work in a grocery market. Go and get that, because that transferable skills is you're building relationship, you're building rapport, right? Now, not in a business scenario, but you're building that in a personal scenario. But that is a transferable skills that you can put into place when you're applying for jobs. So it comes to my third point is, what can you offer us? Right, this is what the companies look for. And I'm going to give you a simple three-part formula. Okay, three-part formula. Number one, relevant skills. Number two, showcase the evidence. So showcase the project or the work. And number three, your eagerness to grow. So for me, my eagerness to grow was me to do an internship that I paid for. No one paid me. So I did that hard work. I got that experience. I then built that relevant skills with the experience that I've got. And this is the evidence. Then I showed my evidence. This is what I've achieved. So you need to build that credibility with no experience. It's very, very challenging. You need to go above and beyond. In the last webinar, I told you guys what I did for my cousin, and my cousin came in and he landed his dream job right now. And he was with an application of 1,000 people. Okay, so but he took what he learned from me, he took what he learned from the business, and he used that as transferable skills, and he told the company, this is what I can offer you. And this is what companies want, right? They want graduates who are eager, they want graduates who will go above and beyond, and to showcase that they can, what's the word I'm looking for? They can be part of a corporate environment.
Interesting, Brendan. You know, most of those students, they have this expectation that I'm going to get my certificate and get a job, but it's a totally different scenario out there, huh?
100%.
You know, I remember a story of mine. Once I was 20 years old, I graduated, and then I seek for a job. So I wanted to work in a place. I was so aligned. My mission was aligned with that mission, company's mission. So I went there and I applied and I gave them my CV. They rejected me. I went there again one more time, and again they rejected me. And I went there the third time, and then they rejected me. He said, "Listen, we don't have a job for you." I said, "I don't care. I will work even as a T-boy."
Yeah.
Okay. And amazingly, he took me to the manager. He says he's ready to work as a T-boy, and I told him even for 1 month, no salary. And then he looked at me. He said, "I'm not going to give you a T-boy, but I'm going to give you to organize my files. These are my files." That was my first step inside.
Yeah.
After 3 months, they saw the qualities that you just mentioned. You know, you just nailed it and said to them, eager of improving, you know, fixing a real problem and plugging and understanding what exactly they need. And I accommodate that. It doesn't matter what I have the degrees, but actually you're fixing a problem and adding a value. That thing, knowing that part and eager of growing and supporting, that really get me the job. Actually, after the next month, they hired me and they gave me a job there.
Amazing. But so, see, it goes again. I don't know if I've told everyone, at Marc Ellis, we follow a methodology called SEAT. Okay, so skills, ethic, attitude, and trust. Now, as a graduate, you don't have the skills, but they want to see the ethic and attitude, right? And that's exactly what you mentioned, because if your ethic and attitude is the right way, that's what's going to land you that opportunity. Yeah. So I have a similar story for a company I applied for. I got rejected at the last stage. Okay. I then joined another company after 1 year. that same company headhunted me. Same company headhunted me
Yeah.
with a 40% increase in the salary.
Amazing.
Right? So one door shuts, another door opens, but you need to get your foot into the door. And then it comes down to your eagerness to grow. And I always say this, look, as a fresh graduate, you have to go above and beyond. Even within the professional side, I think anything from a job standpoint, always go above and beyond. Showcase that you are an asset to the business, not a liability, right? So this is very, very important. And if you go and do that, trust me, every company will be fighting for you, yeah, not rejecting you.
Amazing. So become an asset, not a liability.
Correct.
Build that mindset. Great. Brendan, again, your CV is your pitch. I mean, lots of fresh graduates, they don't understand how they craft their proper CV. I mean, they're learning universities or they take tips on YouTube and they do a beautiful CV. But actually, it's not about how does it look like or what is there. It's very, very technical. I mean, you have years of experience once you select the proper CV. Can you a little bit give us tips? How can a fresh graduate create a CV, and what do he need to focus on, and how can he structure it?
Yeah, look, this is not just for the fresh graduates; it's also for professionals as well. I call it the ATS trap. Okay, so every corporation has an ATS system which filters the CV, and a lot of companies now will be using AI or scanners to come in on this part. So how can you explain your experience in 2 lines or 3 lines or 4 lines, right? So I think where a lot of people make mistakes is they put their experience but not matching what the requirement is looking for. I'll give an example. So like a marketing executive, as an example, right? They will put on their CV that they got brand experience. Okay. What the ATS will be looking for is people that have marketing experience or marketing executive. That's where the keywords are being pulled out, right? So I want everyone to understand that sometimes you might be having the right experience, but you're not translating that into your CV. You're not using the methodologies of how the ATS works or how these companies are looking at. Yeah. So you need to understand that every corporation with the CV scanning, they have like a 6-second scan, for example. They will look at the job title, your companies that you work for, the locations, and why people are getting rejection because the keywords are not matching the job title that they're hiring for. I covered this in the last webinar as well. A lot of people have good experience, but they're not translating that on the CV to get the first look. So you need to understand the job that you're applying has to match that requirement when it comes to the experience. Okay. Now, sometimes, guys, and I always see that a lot of people's CVs are kind of missed, right? And they're not being showcased or they're not understood or anything like that. Sometimes you might have applied for the job too late. Okay. You have a small window. This is why I said in the last webinar, you need to put notifications to apply straight away. Okay. The job gets filled within the first 2 days. They've already got the short list of candidates. So when you're applying a week later, of course your CV is going to sit. Your CV is going to sit in that inbox. No one's going to reflect it because they've already shortlisted it. So you're thinking, why has not the company not come back to me? Why have I not got that? You're too late to the party. Right? So you have to be, there's tips and tricks, and this is what I'm trying to give to you guys. Never be late. Okay. Right? When the job's done, if you are applying, set yourself LinkedIn reminders, set yourself LinkedIn jobs so it comes up straight away so you apply. Number 2, do not use a generic CV to apply for jobs, even though you as a person has the relevant experience, if your CV is not explaining that experience, you're going to fall into the ATS trap. Yeah, me as a person, me with a person example, okay, my business, I run a training academy, I run a managed service, I run a recruitment, I run an outsourcing, I run an AI SaaS platform, okay. In my CV, if I don't put my experience of all 5 areas, and there's a job coming in and want someone with experience of training, as an example, and I have not put that in, but I know I've got the experience and I've applied for it, I'm going to be missed. Yeah, no one will even second look me at that matter. So it's very important. You have to highlight and tailor your CV based on the job itself. Do not use generic, and be quick to apply, because your CV is going to get missed. Yeah, but the good part is now companies are using AI. AI is refining and looking at all the CVs. Okay. Again, it's all based on how your CV is perceived, and that's when the AI picks up whether your CV is suitable or not.
Yeah. And even once with the AI, I mean, the keywords are important. 2 important things that we came here, conclusion. So one thing that means, Brendan, that every job I need to customize my CV according to their needs and keywords. So that's very important, huh? Most of us, fell in this trap. I have one CV, I just want to apply everywhere with the same CV. That's wrong.
Correct.
So you need to understand the job, the requirements, and the JDs, and then customize their keywords. And in neurolinguistic programming, we have an amazing quote says, the way that you communicate is the result that you get. So always communicate according to this other people's perspective and needs. Understand that, and then craft and tailor your CV according to that. And be quick.
What looks good to you does not mean it looks good to me.
Thank you.
Everything is based on perception.
Yep.
Okay. Everything's based on that person who is reading that resume. Okay. So if your CV is not tailored to that person to understand, and again, when you're applying, how do you know what that person is going to look for? What is the mindset? No one is trained on how to screen CVs. There's no certifications on how to screen a CV. Right? It's based on experience of how to look at these things. This is why good candidates get missed. This is why good candidates are not being hired. They're not hired because they're not highlighting their relevant experience coming to that specific job. Yeah. Another thing is, if you apply to so many jobs, the ATS will flag if you're lying about your CVs.
Okay. Hi, Brendan. Brendan this side.
Vina Kumar, if you have any questions, we're going a couple of minutes. We're going to do a Q&A.
We'll do a Q&A at the end, Vinay. Don't worry. We're not miss you. I see you're very eager. Don't worry.
Yeah, very eager. That's amazing. So you will be the first one who's asking. I'll prepare yourself. Great.
Yeah, I already put the question in the chat box.
Great. So we'll give you the mic. We want you to talk and say your question. Great. Okay, let's go back to Brendan. Brendan, lots of people are dreaming to come to the GCC. Lots of professionals out there, they're dreaming to come GCC. The facilities, the salary, the lifestyle is amazing here. So what do you advise those professionals? What do they need to do? How can they access the GCC market?
I mean, look, I'm coming from the meeting that we had last time, okay, with a lot of people have the conception of, I need to have GCC experience to coming in. I am a proof that that is not true, okay? Because I never had GCC experience, and I'm the managing director of one of the biggest professional services businesses in the region, okay? Yeah. So yes and no. Do you need to have experience? Yes. However, my expectations when you come into it, you need to understand that the GCC market is very different to other markets. Why? Because the talent pool access is the world, okay? The talent pool access. So you're not competing with 100 people or 200 people, right? Or 300 people in that matter. You are competing with thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
Right? You need to understand this perspective. Okay, so you need to stand out from the crowd. Okay, your experience, your CV talks that matter. But once your CV passes that AI-driven screening and it looks at all these things, you need to then, once you come and present yourself, you need to stand out even further. The way you communicate, the way you understand the answers, how you answer to those interview questions, how elaborative you are in terms of that. And whenever you are applying for a job, always look at that JD and don't look at, do I fit all the must-haves? You have to also see what additional advantages that I can bring to the business on the nice-to-have. What companies look for nowadays is not just the must-have people with the must-have experience. Whoever's got the nice-to-have, that means they're going to add value to that business.
Okay. Interesting. You said whoever nice to have. What does that mean?
So in any requirement, okay, if you look at a job description right now, any JDs you look at, they will look at these are the mandatory skills that a company is looking for. Okay, these are the nice to have skills. So even if you don't have the nice to have, you have to match all the mandatory things. Now, what I would look for, and I know, and speaking to hiring managers and speaking to people, right? If there is a candidate who has all the must-have and has 2 or 3 of the nice-to-have, which candidate are they going to choose? Are they going to choose the candidate who's got the must-have, or are they going to choose the candidate that's got the must-have and the nice-to-have?
Okay, great. Definitely the nice to have.
Of course, because it ticks. Why? Because the nice-to-have means they're going to add value. This is where you become an asset to the business.
Another question, Brendan, is understanding the Middle East culture. It's kind of a priority there, or let's say it's part of the nice to have.
100%.
Like
100%.
What do they?
Why? Because see, I'm going to be very honest with everyone. You need to look at the company you're hiring. You need to understand the culture of that business. What is their values? What is their proposition? What are the type of people who are currently working in that organization? Because that matters. Okay, so Middle East culture, I don't think it's just an Arabic culture. The heavy Asian culture is a heavy British culture, is a heavy European culture, is African culture. You know, so the company values and the mission and the values is what drives the Middle East culture. Right? If you look at the UAE, how many nationalities are there?
Yeah, a lot.
Over 200 plus.
200 plus. Yep.
But what is it? What is the beauty of it? How is it such a safe country? How is that? Again, that's the culture of the country. You need to adapt to that, right? And that's the philosophy of how businesses are driving. Right? They are matching the government's ambition. They are matching the government's initiatives, and they want to replicate that. So you need to come with an open mindset on that part. How am I going to adapt to it?
Amazing. You mentioned something amazing. So understanding the government and the leaders' direction, then trends, and then you can understand the culture. So go ahead and study the literacies which is out there, understanding the direction, the vision, the principles, values, so you can understand the culture.
The philosophy of the country, the philosophy, because companies are driving the same philosophy of the leaders. Right? They're very important.
Amazing. Great. Final topic, and then we're going to go to the Q&A. And we want to do it quick. What are the hiring trends in GCC? What are those hot jobs in the GCC? So
look, before January, I would say the trend was very, very different to the trend as of today. Okay. Given the regional situation and things like that, what we have seen is that permanent hiring has not been as much as the outsourced contract hiring. Okay. Why? Because companies want to hire people from an outsourcing standpoint because of budgetings or anything like that, business as usual, projects, deliverables, and so forth. Okay. So From that perspective, I have seen a massive increase when it comes from an outsourced or contract hiring trend. Number
Okay.
one. Okay. Number two, companies are also pushing the agenda in terms of the types of people they're hiring. So I can only go by it from a technical standpoint because we focus on the AI, digital cybersecurity, etc. Right? And what these people are looking for are not just technical people; they're looking for techno-functional people. So someone who's got amazing communication skills, as well as the technical ability, who can manage stakeholders. There is a new trend coming in this. They don't want someone just to sit behind the desk. They want someone who can communicate, someone who can build rapport, someone who can drive initiatives.
Yeah.
Depending on the spectrum of their job. So these 2 points I've seen as a major trend coming in the market in the last 2 months.
Interesting. So the word techno function, it's combination between your technical skills, which you need, and then human skills, which is such as emotional intelligence, communication, being an agile, leadership skills. So
stakeholder management, all these things are very, very important.
Yeah. So, and most of the universities, they don't teach this, and they focus on the technical skills. So it's your opportunity out there and train yourself. And that's why we have in Marc Ellis Academy, which we empower you into becoming a better version of yourself and activating being a techno function. Great. Any last things you want to share before we take the Q&A, Brendan?
No, I think I want everyone to, whenever you apply for a job, don't come with a negative mindset that you're not going to get that job. I believe I mentioned this last time as well.
Yeah.
Do not feel that there is limitations. Okay. One last point I want to mention before in terms of hiring trend, a lot of people are applying for the same jobs. We've seen mass reductions coming through in terms of companies laying off people and so forth, right? You're having two trends. It all depends on the industry. It all depends on your skill set. I cannot speak for other industries. I can only speak from a IT, digital, cybersecurity, AI space. Yeah, but that's why we're seeing people not getting FTE permanent roles, but they're coming more from an outsourcing perspective. So you need to be adaptable. You need to understand. If you are so keen to get a job into the region, so keen to get that, get your foot in. This doesn't not just apply from a professional, a fresh graduate perspective. It also applies from a professional perspective as well. If that is your dream, if that is your ambition, if that's what you want to get in, you need to get your foot in and climb the ladder.
Amazing session. So we will start now with a Q&A. So we have Vinya Kumar. You're the first one we said.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Take the mic and ask us your question.
Yeah. Hi. Good afternoon. I'm from India. So I have one very good question. Like I applied in Marc Ellis company and my CV got selected, but I got rejected by over a call due to I have a scamming issue. So what is like if I got selected by my CV but rejected by my like scamming part? So what should I do?
Which part? Sorry, Vinay. I couldn't hear you.
So my question is like my CV got selected in your company, Marc Ellis, but when I got a call over, I have a scamming issue. So the AI agent is rejected my CV because he not able to understand my point, because I was stuck in the when I was speaking, because I have a issue in the medical issue. So what should I do?
When you communicate, you have a stutter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the AI would not have rejected you because of a stutter, Vinay. Okay. Trust me on this part. It understands clearly. Maybe you might need to communicate once or twice or repeat it, like just what happened now. Do not take stutter to in your mindset that it will be rejected.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sometimes communication part will come in. Okay, you might need to take once or twice to repeat yourself, but that will never be the case. Now, you might have the relevant experience, you might have the relevant thing, but again, based on that requirement, it might have had some other candidates more suitable from an experience standpoint, which is probably why it didn't move further. I don't know your actual case, but this is the methodology, this is the framework of how things work.
Actually, this has happened with me like lot of time. Like I was rejected by like I applied in the Etihad Airways also. In the final round, the client said like the person having the issue, he is not able to like handle our client. So I got rejected on that part also.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure on that part, Vinay. But my humble opinion is that you carry on going and don't think that a startup will think. If you have the relevant experience, you have that right ethic and the attitude, and you showcase that, I promise you, Vinay, you will land your dream job.
Exactly. Focus on those great assets that you have and showcase it out there. So thank you very much, Vinod and Kumar. So we have Muhammad and then Daniel. Go ahead, Muhammad. Umar.
Yeah, hello. How are you, Brendan?
Nice to meet you, Mohammed.
Nice to meet you too. A very great session that you have scheduled. I just had a question, figuring out. Okay, I live in Bahrain right now, and I'm a software engineer here from since last 1 year. And I just wanted to ask about Emiratization in UAE. Like, how is it like changing the job market there? Although we respect all the policies that are being published by the government, but like, how is it affecting the market, or is changing the market trend? And is there anything for us to do there?
Okay, look, quota compliance affects who gets shortlisted. If there is a mandate on whether or not this needs to be a nationalization role or an expat role, number one. Number two, companies are also hiring outsourcing consultants to go and get the expat rather than the localization. So this is also a hiring trend. This is why I'm saying that maybe you won't get an FTE permanent position, but you can also get an outsourcing position. You still work with the same company, but you're just represented by a company like us. Okay, so that's something very important for you to understand.
Okay, so does your company, Marc Ellis, also like goes through this trend of nationalization, or are they open to any?
No. We don't. We have it differently, right? So when we won't have that kind of drive the same way that an end client, like for example, a bank. Okay, so one of the banks, they have a quota on localization. They have to match that quota, which is why if they want to hire expats, that's why there's only a small amount of expats that are hired as a full-time employee.
Sure. And just one last question that I have to ask, that I have an experience, I have a GCC experience plus 2-3 years of more experience in software engineering, and I applied multiple times in your company for the roles of consultant, CRM consultant, or Power Platform developer. What is like stopping me from even getting like CV scan done? Like my resume is not even getting selected just for an interview. So where do you think that I am lacking here? Because I have an experience of GCC, I have nice to haves, I have must to haves, but even then my CV is not like going to the next stage. Like what will you suggest me in this regard?
Okay, so look, you have to look at not just yourself, you have to look at the market who you are competing with for this position. Okay,
yes.
Now you might have all that, but you might have a limited 3 years of experience, or there might be someone in the market that has 5+ years of experience. Now, who is the client going to go for when it comes to an interview, or who's the client going to go for to hire? Are they going to hire someone with a 2 or 3 years experience, or are they going to hire someone with a 5 to 7 years of experience, right?
Mm.
Even though you've got the relevant experience, you've got the nice to have and must have, they're probably a candidate in the market who probably had more experience than you.
Even though the job
This is where
has
you
requirement
are.
of less year experience, even though they will become got select,
Sorry?
even if the job requirement is of a lesser year of experience.
Yeah, I mean, look, the market's a bit. See, even if the job says I need someone with 3+ years of experience,
Yeah.
or 2+ years of experience, the 2+, if someone is coming with 5 years of experience and you've coming with 3 years, and you all got the must-have and nice-to-have, and you're a hiring manager right now, Mohammed, will you hire the person that's got the 2 years of experience, or will you hire the person with 5 years of experience?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I'll go with the greater one.
Exactly, right? So this is the mindset. This is maybe the challenge for your perspective of why you're not getting to that further because of that. Now, if there is a candidate who has 5 years of the must-have but doesn't have the nice-to-have, or you have showcased that eagerness, you have showcased that above and beyond thing, this is where you can differentiate, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
No problem.
Great. So thank you very much for your question. So we have Daniel. Go ahead.
Hey, Loay and Brandon. Nice to meet you guys again. I was there in your previous session, and it really helped a lot in shaping the next steps in making my CV. I've got 3 questions. I'm really sorry about that, but I've got 3 questions. It would be great if you guys could help me out with these.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my first question is, right, so we've got the CV down and we've made the necessary arrangements and changes that needed to be done. How do we get our foot through the door?
Very good question. One thing this market has taught me is not what you know, is who you know.
Right. Okay.
I'm being very honest and transparent, right? So the research that you've done, maybe you might have a friend or a colleague, a past colleague, or anything like that. That's what you should be looking at for the companies and asking them to maybe do some recommendation. I'll give you an example. If someone's come to me, Daniel, you've applied for a job, and Loay has come to me and said, hey, Brendan, I've got this amazing guy who's looking for the next job, right? Because I trust Loay and I've got that relationship with Loay, maybe your CV got brushed aside and Loay's candidate was seen. However, that being said, that CV has to have the relevant experience for me to then hire them. But if I just look at the 2 comparisons at the moment, and even you, Daniel, if your friend came to you, and forget about Brendan being the managing director right now, if Brendan applied for a job with you, and I have experience, and your friend has come and given you a CV, you will go for the friend's CV and speak to him. So I want you to understand that concept. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And use your relation. This is what I say, networking, building rapport. Again, that soft skills element comes into play because these people can, we call them the influencers, not the decision makers.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Amazing.
Next question. Now, you touched upon outsourcing, and I have been involved in this for a long time in terms of outsourcing, where it kind of turned into a better decision for a company to go with a remote hire over bringing somebody down because it's much more expensive, you know, the visa and all of that nonsense. And it just brings, it's just a lot more effort and it's a lot more time bringing somebody down more than it is to get somebody remotely where they can start literally immediately after
Correct.
the agreement is made.
Yeah.
I have noticed over the past maybe 2 or 3 years now where this is on the rise, where they're looking for more remote candidates more than bringing people down. And that kind of shoots a lot of people down in terms of them, because the idea is to get to the UAE or get to one of the GCC countries, right? And with that being said, there's a lot of people saying, I want to get in, but the threshold is now becoming smaller and smaller, with more people going with outsourcing rather than, you know, I guess you can say relocation. Have you seen that as well? And what do people do about that? How do we manage that now?
So look, I can't tell you it's a regional thing. I think it's company mandates. Okay, certain industries have certain mandates of whether people can be on site or whether people can be remote. Okay, number one, maybe budget constraints that they want to get the projects to be done, that they maybe hire someone offshore than bringing it again. So it's really case by case, Daniel. I can't give you one size fits for all answer when it comes to that. That being said, I've also seen companies who actually went and hired someone remotely and done such a fantastic job that they brought the person to come on site.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's case by case situation. Now, if I talk about the mandates that we've had, we've got a lot of demands coming in. However, due to regional situation, maybe they want people to start remotely and then maybe bring them in. It could be that. I can't speak entirely. I'm just trying to think of the thought process of businesses, so that business projects do not get impacted. But then you need to have the right infrastructure. If you're in technology and we're getting you're going to be onto that client's ecosystem. So right. Cybersecurity breaches could be there. So some companies do not want that. So they want to bring someone on site. Again, depends on the role. It depends on the client. It depends on the situation. It depends on the projects. It depends on deliverables. You know, all these play a part on that decision.
Okay. Finally, my last question.
Go on then.
Which is, a lot of companies, especially from people from my kind of area, which is Pakistan and India and these kinds of places, they try and take advantage of offering a low salary in dirhams, but it turns out to be a high salary, you know, in the home country. And, you know, they kind of take advantage of that because of the fact that, because of the exchange rate. However, what the role demands and what the role actually dictates is a specific salary level that should not be below, you know, what is generally offered sometimes. So how do we kind of like negotiate based on what the worth of the role is, rather than what is being offered initially?
I think first and foremost, the Indian market has definitely, I can't speak about, but I know from an Indian tech market perspective, the salaries have gone up drastically in terms of the comparisons, right? Now, why do companies tend to do this is because they're giving you a percentage hike, okay? Now, the percentage hike is based on your current salary to the new salary coming in. They factor in the cost of living different. They factor all these things in a different way. This is how the HR policies and procedures. How can I justify to give that person 100% increase in their salary just because they're based in India, as an example, right? Or just because they're based in Pakistan, or just because they're based in Sri Lanka, right? This is where the HR, because if I give that person 100% salary increase, the person next to you who's coming in, and I do not give that person, there's going to be a conflict. So it's more of a HR policy and procedure. I wouldn't say it's more from a regional standpoint, because now if I compare the offshore salaries of, say, Eastern Europe versus India, it's hand in hand the same amount. right?
Oh,
So,
okay.
so they're again, I don't know how the companies are thought. I can't give you a general one size fits for all answer, right? But when it comes to negotiation, the value of you and how you sell yourself is your negotiation power.
Mhm.
If you're someone that does the must have and nice to have, that's how you negotiate with your skills.
Mhm.
Okay. But if they see you being desperate to come to the region, they're not going to give you offer more. Again, it's how you portray yourself on that interview is what determines how you negotiate at the end if you get selected.
But wouldn't you argue that the salary that is being drawn in your home country should not be relevant, really, because as far as the role is concerned, you're meeting all those standards, and if HR is saying, okay, you are, you know, taking into consideration all the things you mentioned, like, you know, standard of living and everything, that's being fulfilled in with our salary here.
Mm.
Now, translating that role and everything else, all things considered, in the UAE, perhaps, you know, it needs to be on that level then as well. So then it needs to take a jump.
100%. But I can't speak for companies' HR policy.
Okay.
That's again based on the company. It's based on how they're going about it.
Right.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Danielle. These are really amazing questions. Thank you. Let's take Suhan Nicker. Mr. Suhan Nicker. Go ahead.
Sean Nicker.
Sean. Sean Nicker.
Yeah, not to worry. Well, firstly, Brendan.
Sean, quick question. What top are you wearing right now? What team are you supporting?
Oh, come on.
Liverpool. Okay, so I'm not going to answer your question.
Okay.
Well,
I'm a Tottenham fan, so
Arsenal.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
well, firstly, since you're not speaking to me, but thank you, Brendan. You gave me feedback on my CV, I think a couple of weeks ago. So thanks for that. It actually made a very big difference. I've gotten interviews and feedback from other agencies, not Marc Ellis, so let's just leave it at there. It did help you a lot there. I think, Daniel, just to go on what Brendan said about who you know, one of the things I have done in the last few months is up my LinkedIn profile a lot, engaging with a lot of recruiters, engaging with professionals in my field, and that's kind of yielded a lot of feedback and actually got referrals as well to jobs. So that is really, really a big thing. I use something called the Sales SSI to kind of check my LinkedIn profile and keep pushing it up there. So it really makes a big difference, especially in the UAE market. And I've only been in Dubai for 6 months, so I'm quite new to this market. So it's really made a big difference. Brendan, two things. What differentiates the top 5% of LinkedIn profiles you see when it comes to senior professionals? And I think on that is, for someone who's applied for me, I've applied to, hundreds of jobs. Let's leave out March and April because of the war. There was no movement, but I've seen a lot of change in the market now. So the question is, for someone who's applied for 100 jobs without much response, what are the first 3 things you think I would need to review?
Okay, so first question is how top 5%, right?
Yeah.
Your LinkedIn is your engagement. It's your branding.
Yeah.
Okay, if someone is engaged in an amazing way, or someone is engaged and got a lot of profile reviews, a lot of recommendations, right? You're seen in the market as someone valuable. Okay, so I'll take you an example. Me as a leader, if I'm not socially active, personal branding is the most number one thing. If I'm not active in the branding element, and if I'm not showcasing my profile, forget about Marc Ellis' profile right now. My profile, when I'm meeting a customer or when I'm meeting people like yourself, are you going to take me serious? Right? You won't. However, because I'm and by the way, my branding's got a lot of things to fix. Right? I'm not there, but I give posts, I give comments, I give information that drives attraction and drives the traffic of people communicating with me, which then showcase, you know what, Brendan is someone with valuable insights, or Brendan is someone who's got this information, etc. So if I'm putting something out there in the market, you're thinking, okay, this isn't going to be valuable data. The same thing is if I'm a hiring manager right now and I'm seeing Sean having a lot of engagement with people that I'm connected to, you become a person of relevance to me. So when you are applying, guess what? Sean will come into my head. I remember Sean. And then straight away. So personal branding, again, it has to be relevant branding to your specific area. Don't just do branding for the sake of branding.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That branding can also work in your favor, but it also can tarnish your reputation.
Okay.
You have to be very, very careful. Okay. Now, going to the second point, and I always say this, sometimes we go blind in terms of applying for jobs because we're out of desperation. Okay. Now, desperation is not going to help you, right? You need to step back. You need to analyze. You need to understand. You need to look at the data. I'm a very data-centric person. Everything, all my decisions are made by data. Okay. So when I look at my profile and I look at, okay, why am I getting rejected? What is the reason behind it? Okay, what's the purpose? And then I look at the trend. Okay, which jobs did I apply for? I saw straight away with your CV, right? When you came to me, I changed your entire CV approach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which then you saw a difference in terms of how things are. So coming back to my first point, you have to tailor the CV of what that job is. You put a relevant experience. Even though you had relevant experience, you're using the wrong terminology to showcase your experience.
Yep. And I think formatting also was a key thing that you pointed out as well. Yeah. So
these are points. Again, you're a fantastic profile. You have amazing experience, right? But you are outcast. This is exactly the topic of discussion today. Why good CVs get rejected or why good CVs get missed. You were a prime example of that.
Yeah, and you hit the point where you have to be very strategic in applying. I mean, I tell everybody, LinkedIn and AI is my mistress. I spend more time on AI and LinkedIn than my wife. So, but it's been very selective. It's been very selective on the opportunities I apply for now. If the AI tells me that it's below 85%, I don't apply for it anymore. My CV doesn't match it. Below 85%, I don't apply for it. Apply for everything above, and that's kind of helped me now go further. Thanks.
And don't use the AI to your CV you go through, because again, the GCC market is very, very small. Yeah. Right. In terms of people who are very good, like me, regardless of my competitors know who I am and I know my competitors. Right. So if people are applying, people ask me for referrals and recommendations, even though they're a competitor of mine. Right. But we have a mutual understanding. So they'll be like, did you meet Sean? I'll be like, yeah, don't go about it. You know, his CV is not relevant. He applied for 1,000 jobs. Again, be very, very smart in how you apply and apply for the jobs for your dedicated profile.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. And thanks. This is very informative and very helpful. So thank you, guys.
Amazing. Brendan, we have 2 minutes left or 1 minute left. So
we'll do one more question. And then if anyone else, else has questions, they can maybe
Sagar.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks for having this session. First of all, I would like to consider all the profiles of the people who joined this meeting, because we have a lot of hope to pursue career in UAE. And some people have lost jobs. It is fact. People are not telling it outside. They've lost their jobs and they're struggling a lot. I think so. This is my sincere request on behalf of everyone. And coming to me, I'm a PMP certified senior technical project manager. So I've been applying for jobs since 4 months, and I got a call from Marc Ellis 3 times, and I've given interview with the AI, and I got a call from physical team from Marc Ellis. But after that, I didn't get any response. I'm very disappointed. I'm very excited when I got a call. But the way AI has nurtured the questions to take the interview forward is very well. That was a beautiful way of portraying as if it is a human. So I until and unless I sense the gap of my conversation and AI conversation, I was under the impression that it is a human. But I got to know at the very end of the interview that it is an AI interview call. But that was very beautiful and amazing. I never
Thank you,
expected
sir.
from any other agency throughout the world, because I have applied in many countries. So I sincerely request to please consider all the people who have joined, because they have taken their time out, wanted to interact with beautiful people like you. And it was a great session, and help. I think you guys are giving helping hands to all of us. So I sincerely thank everyone who joined this call, and also Marc Ellis for having this wonderful session during this time. Okay. So this is my and I'm sincerely not understanding, but I'm a PMP certified project management professional. I have AI courses done, and I have AI projects done at the 1.5 year experience. And I have experience in government organizations in India, not in UAE. But only drawback with me is I have only 1.5 years of experience in UAE. So
I wouldn't say that's a drawback. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for a beautiful message that you've shared with this. Okay, and again, I want you to know that we're trying as much as we can to help everyone as possible. Okay. This is sincerely the main purpose of these webinars that we're hosting right now, and giving everyone different experiences, different journeys. Maybe I can help you directly, or maybe this webinar will help you from an indirect perspective to get opportunities. And for us, whether it's with Marc Ellis or whether it's with anyone else, the main objective of this is to ensure that people can land that opportunity. So that's point number one. Point number two, I want you to understand, so that we spent, and I'm talking about the leaders of Marc Ellis, the owners of Marc Ellis, and myself and the AI team have put our recruitment experience of how we qualify candidates, how we engage with candidates into the AI tool, which is why you're having that view to. It's not, by the way, it's not tech people creating this product. It's actually humans, the leaders who've done recruitment, creating that product, which is amazing to hear that you've gone through that journey, right? In terms of the AI and shortlisting and so forth. Now, coming to your experience, because I know of time, and I just want to just finish with this note, because I think this could be very much relevant with people. Sometimes, Sagar, it depends on what the customer is looking for. Don't look at the agency or the HR or the recruitment team is not maybe taking your CV into consideration. Okay, there is an abundance of applications. Abundance. Okay, I'm not talking about 10 people or 50. I'm talking it's going to the thousands right now. Right. Not just graduate. I'm not talking about graduate. I'm talking about professional experiences. Okay, yes. Even though you might have the relevant experience, yes, even though you might have that, and I think Sean can hit this and agree with me on this part, right? His CV was represented in the wrong way. Yep. Of his profile. Yep. That's right. He was applying, and you know what? Sean could have come in and said, you know what, the market is not great. I'm not getting much luck or anything like that. Okay, Sean caught me at the right time. And I was traveling actually, which meant I have more time to check on my phone. And I was just going for the email, and I saw Sean's message, and I replied back. He had that opportunity and that luck, let's say, right, for me to give him that guidance and to give him that opportunity. Yeah, and this is the main purpose. This is why we're trying to drive this, because if I have 100, 200 people emailing me every day to check on their CVs, I've got my job, I've got everything, and etc. On this part. This is why we're doing this webinar, because we're trying to give you the tips and tricks to apply, you know. And now more than ever, you have tools like what Sean said of AI compatibility of your job versus the CV. You can see the match, you can see these things to support you and guide you on this. If we can help you any way to get you that opportunity, happy days. You know, that's the main intention for us as a business. But our other intention, and I just want to end it on this point, our other intention is to give you the tips, the tricks to ensure that you can get that opportunity. You know, so thank you for that amazing note, Saga. And you are 100%. I want to thank everyone that joined this meeting. You know, it's been eventful, it's been insightful. I'm more than happy to do these webinars and more sessions. I'm seeing my marketing team said to me, this is probably one of the most hot topic of discussions. I apologize for the people that I wasn't be able to answer the questions. Loay is here if you want any questions and answers from that perspective. But I hope this was insightful. Just give me a thumbs up if you felt that this kind of hit your expectations and matched everything that you were looking for. And again, I will try everything we possibly can as a business. And as the managing director of Marc Ellis, I really hope we can help you to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, great. Thanks for your response, and very well understood. But I will not take much time. So, and also coming to ATS. So, because if I don't have experience, if I don't have a knowledge, if I look at JD and if I put everything what is required in my CV, that is not also correct, right? So I'm trying to match as much as possible, but I cannot fill which is required in GD, which is nice to have in GD. If to put it in my CV, that is also not correct. But if we purely go with ATS, sometimes good candidates may get unfiltered.
See, I'm not asking you guys, just good point you mentioned, I'm not asking you guys to change your CV to match the description. Okay, I'm getting you to understand what are the key words of the requirement. If your experience will explain that, right? But what I'm saying is sometimes, and I said it, a marketing executive uses brand experience. Brand experience will not match on the keywords on the ATS. Marketing will match as a keyword.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a terminology. What Sean was putting on his CV was project management experience rather than program management experience, and he was applying for program management roles rather than project management roles. Okay, so his CVs were getting missed because of the terminology of his experience. And when he was explaining to me his experience, he was a program manager rather than a project manager. This is why he was getting missed. So this is what I meant by the ATS trap of why your CV is not being reflected in the right way.
Understood.
Okay?
Clear.
Great.
Thank you.
Guys, we have to wrap up now, and thank you very much, everyone, for attending the session. We're looking forward for our next sessions. Stay tuned. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on Instagram. Be sure that you subscribe and be part of the WhatsApp group. And we're having a next session. Stay tuned. Today was amazing. Thank you very much, Brendan, for those amazing tips. It came from heart. It went to the hearts, and I'm sure that it will have an impact on their life. As we notice with a couple of the participants. So thank you very much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, yeah, and best of luck, everyone. I wish you all the best.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.